Myra Hales never wanted a crown. She wanted quiet mornings on her father's ranch. She wanted sunlight on her skin, warm hay under her boots, the smell of horses and freedom. She wanted a life far from pack politics, far from expectations, far from wolves who judged worth by lineage. But destiny never cared what she wanted. The night the Alpha King crossed her land, everything changed. His scent hit her first, wild pine, burning ember, storm wind. Her wolf froze. Her breath caught. Her heart misfired. Mate. The word slammed into her like a lightning strike. Before she could make sense of it, the Alpha King, Rowan Blackthorn, ruler of the 12 United Packs, turned toward her as if drawn by an invisible force. His eyes, mercury silver, ancient, lethal, landed on her. And in front of every warrior in his escort, he lifted a hand. And marked her. The glowing sigil of the Alpha King flared on her skin. Gasps filled the night. Myra stumbled backward, horrified. "I'm nobody," she whispered. "You made a mistake." But Rowan stepped closer, voice rumbling with something dangerous and certain. "No mistake. You are mine." And the air trembled with the awakening of a bond she never asked for. And a destiny she could no longer escape. If you love stories where a simple girl is chosen by the most powerful alpha alive, where destiny collides with denial, and where hidden magic awakens in the unlikeliest hearts, this story is yours. Comment, marked by fate, and subscribe, because Myra's quiet life ends tonight, and her rise begins. Myra Hales belonged to the part of the world wolves forgot. Far from royal courts, far from the capital packs, far from the politics that shaped most wolves' lives. The Hales Ranch was nothing but acres of open land, creaking fences, stubborn horses, and the salty scent of the distant sea. Most wolves hated the quiet. Myra loved it. She didn't care that her bloodline wasn't known. She didn't care that her wolf was soft-spoken, gentle, better at calming animals than fighting battles. She didn't care that, in a world built on hierarchy, she had no title. Because titles never fed horses. Titles never healed wounded foals. Titles didn't love her the way the ranch did. But even peaceful lands hold secrets. And Myra had one she'd never shared. When she was a child, her wolf had whispered to her in ways no one else's did, speaking not in instinct, but in language. Clear, ancient words. Words about threads, choices, pathways in the moon's shadow. Her father called it imagination. Her mother called it dangerous. So Myra kept silent. Tonight, however, silence would not save her. A thunderous rumble shook the ground. Hooves? No. Too heavy. Too rhythmic. Too, wolf. Myra stepped outside her barn, wiping sweat from her brow. The moonlight lit up a line of warriors, at least 30, riding through her land with the unmistakable crest of the Alpha King. Her chest tightened. Why here? Why now? She started to back away, but her wolf suddenly froze inside her. Turn around. The voice inside her wasn't gentle this time. It was urgent. Certain. Myra turned. And her world collapsed into a single moment. Rowan Blackthorn, Alpha King of the 12 Packs, sat atop a massive obsidian stallion. His aura was a storm, his presence a blade. Power radiated from him so fiercely the air bowed. Their eyes met. Silver lightning cracked through the bond between them. Rowan inhaled sharply, as if the moon itself punched the breath from his lungs. Myra's wolf's peak echoed through her mind. Mate. No, she whispered, stepping back. But Rowan was already dismounting, as if compelled by something older than time. He crossed the dirt toward her with slow, deliberate steps, each one pulling the air tighter. When he reached her, he touched her wrist gently, reverently. And the Alpha King's mark blazed to life on her skin. The world gasped. Myra did too. Because nothing about her life would ever be the same. The glowing mark seared against Myra's skin, hot, pulsing in time with a heartbeat that wasn't hers. Her breath hitched. Her wolf stumbled backward inside her, overwhelmed by the tidal wave of power crashing through her veins. Around her, the king's escort reacted instantly. Warriors dismounted, armor clinking. A commander barked orders. Guards fanned out with instinctive formation, creating a protective circle around Rowan, and, strangely, around Myra too. But Rowan didn't look at them. He didn't look at anything except her. "Myra Hales," he said, voice low, rough-edged, crackling with disbelief. "It's you." Myra shook her head so hard her braid slipped over her shoulder. "No. You don't even know me." Rowan stepped closer, eyes glowing a bright molten silver. "I don't need to know you," he said. "My wolf knows you." Her pulse spiked. "Your wolf's wrong." A faint, humorless smile tugged at Rowan's lips. "He's never wrong." Myra backed away, trembling. "I'm just a rancher's daughter. You're my mate." The words hit her harder than the mark did. Mate. Her wolf whimpered softly, "Yes, yes, yes," but Myra shoved the instinct down. This couldn't be happening. Not to her. Not here. Not in the middle of her father's land with horses whinnying in confusion and warriors staring at her like she was suddenly royalty. "Mila, what's going on?" Her father's voice cracked through the tension. Jonas Hales limped out of the barn, wiping his hands on a rag. He froze when he saw Rowan. Every wolf in the region knew the Alpha King by sight, knew the sharp, powerful lines of his face, the cold authority in his posture, the storm-coiled aura that could crush lesser wolves. Jonas immediately bowed in respect. "Your Majesty." Rowan didn't acknowledge him. His eyes stayed locked on Myra. Jonas followed that gaze, and saw the glowing mark on his daughter's wrist. His breath caught. "Myra, child, what happened?" "I don't know." Myra shouted, panic rising. He marked me." Jonas turned back to the king, horror in his voice. "Your Majesty, there must be some mistake." "My daughter, she isn't, she's not." "She is exactly who the moon chose," Rowan said firmly. Jonas blinked, stunned. Myra felt her knees weaken. You don't understand. I'm not fit for this. I can't be a Luna. I can't be queen. I barely know pack law. I've never even visited a royal court." Rowan stepped closer, too close. His scent hit her again, storm pines, wildfire, old magic. Her wolf nearly melted. "You don't need to be anything," Rowan murmured. "You just need to be mine." Her heart stuttered dangerously. This wasn't a choice. This wasn't a meeting. This wasn't a courtship. This was destiny bulldozing her entire life. "No," she whispered, voice shaking. "I don't accept this." Rowan stilled. The moon itself seemed to stop breathing. His voice, when it came, was deceptively calm. "You can deny me in words. But the bond doesn't care for fear." "I'm not afraid," Myra shot back. "Then what are you?" Myra opened her mouth. But another voice spoke first. "She's overwhelmed," Jonas said quickly, stepping between them. "Your Majesty, please, give her a moment to breathe." Rowan's jaw flexed. Shadows flickered behind his eyes. "I mean her no harm." "I believe you," Jonas replied gently. "But she's not a warrior. She's not accustomed to this kind of intensity." Rowan exhaled slowly. The silver glow in his eyes dimmed to something softer, still fierce, but less consuming. "Very well," he said. Then, to Myra. "You have until sunrise." Her stomach dropped. "For what?" "To accept the bond." "And if I don't?" Rowan's eyes darkened, not with anger, but with something more solemn. More dangerous. The bond has awakened fully, he said. If you reject it, the backlash could harm us both. Maybe permanently. Myra's breath caught. Her wolf whined in fear. Rowan stepped closer again, lowering his voice enough that only she could hear. I don't want to force this, he said. I want you to choose it. But fate doesn't wait forever. Myra trembled. I never asked for fate. He nodded once, slow, understanding, heartbreaking to look at. I know. He straightened, turning to his warriors. We make camp here. Myra gaped. Here. On our ranch. Rowan met her eyes. I won't leave until you are safe, and until you understand what we are. The warriors obeyed instantly. Tents rose. Perimeter guards formed. A fire pit was lit. The king of the 12 packs was staying. For her. Myra stumbled backward until her hand hit the barn wall. Her father reached her, gripping her shoulders with trembling hands. Myra, are you all right? That was the Alpha King. I know. Her voice cracked. And he thinks I'm his mate. Jonas swallowed. Do you feel anything? Myra hesitated. She remembered the electric pull. The heat in her chest. The recognition so deep it felt carved into her bones. Yes, she whispered bitterly. That's the problem. Jonas hugged her tightly. We'll figure this out. But Myra wasn't so sure. Because across the campfire, Rowan was still watching her. Not with lust. Not with ownership. With recognition. With longing. As if he had waited lifetimes to find her. Her wolf spoke again, clear, unmistakable. He is yours. Myra pressed her trembling hand over the glowing mark. No, she whispered to herself. He can't be. But destiny had never cared what Myra Hales believed. And the Alpha King had given her until sunrise. Night settled over the ranch like a thick, uneasy blanket. Crickets chirped. Horses shifted nervously in their stalls. But beneath all of it pulsed a second heartbeat, deep, resonant, ancient. Rowan's. Even from across the firelit encampment, Myra felt the steady thrum of his presence. Her wolf responded instinctively, pressing against the cage of her ribs, pacing, urging her to go closer. She didn't. Instead, she sat on the fence rail overlooking the lower pasture, hugging her knees to her chest, watching the flames flicker around the Alpha King's warriors. They were nothing like the wolves in her region, bigger, sharper, radiating authority even in stillness. Their armor glinted with royal crestwork. Their eyes tracked shadows the way predators track prey. And Rowan sat at the center of them. Not speaking. Not resting. Just watching her. As if she were the only thing that mattered. Myra tore her gaze away, cheeks burning. Why me? She whispered to herself. But the night offered no answers. Footsteps approached softly behind her. Myra. She didn't turn. Hey, Dad. Jonas leaned on the fence beside her, joints creaking like old barn wood. For a long moment, he said nothing, simply watching the distant warriors with narrowed eyes. Finally, he sighed. You should eat something. I'm not hungry. You need strength. Big decisions aren't made on an empty stomach. Myra stared at her hands. The mark on her wrist still glowed faintly, pulsing in time with the Alpha King's heartbeat. I don't want this, she murmured. I know, Jonas said softly. But sometimes life gives us what we need, not what we want. She scoffed bitterly. I didn't need a king to claim me. No, he agreed lightly. But maybe your wolf did. Myra turned sharply. Don't start that. Jonas studied her face, the fear, the confusion, the spark she tried to hide. Child, he said gently, I've never seen your wolf react so strongly to anything. Not even when you were little and discovering your shift. This bond, it shook you. Myra looked away. It terrified me. Not because it's wrong, Jonas murmured, but because it's big. Her throat tightened. Dad. He placed a hand over hers. You've lived a quiet life out here. But that doesn't mean you were meant for a quiet destiny. Myra closed her eyes. A quiet destiny. She had prayed for one. But fate had other plans. Her father squeezed her hand once more, then stepped off the fence. If you need me, I'll be in the house. Try to talk to him. I don't want to. I know. He paused. Talk to him anyway. When Jonas left, Myra exhaled shakily. Her heart thudded in her chest. Across the fire, Rowan rose to his feet the moment her father walked away. He didn't hesitate. He walked toward her. Each step was measured. Controlled. Commanding. A king approaching his queen, not yet accepted, but already claimed. When he reached her, he didn't touch her. He simply stood close enough that the warmth of his body washed over her in waves. Myra, he said quietly. She didn't look at him. What do you want? You. Her breath snagged. He stepped closer, voice dropping to something impossibly gentle. Sit with me. No. Rowan's lips twitched faintly. I admire your stubbornness. That's not stubbornness, she snapped. That's me telling you no. Stubborn, he repeated with amusement. Myra folded her arms tightly. You can't just stroll onto my land and take over my life. I haven't taken anything, Rowan said softly. I recognized what was already mine. She glared at him. Stop saying that. His gaze darkened, soft, not stormy. You feel it too. She went still. Rowan dragged his fingertips along the fence rail, close enough that her wolf reacted, but far enough not to touch her skin. When our eyes met, he murmured, my wolf bowed. I have lived 30 years without him bowing to anyone. And tonight, he bowed to you. Myra's pulse raced. Rowan, she whispered helplessly. He finally sat beside her, not touching, but close enough that the air vibrated between them. I need you to understand something, he said. I didn't come here to force you. The moon chose you without my consent. Without yours. Then why accept it, she hissed. You're the Alpha King. You could have rejected the bond. Rowan's jaw tightened. If I rejected you, I would lose my wolf. And the kingdom would lose its king. Myra's breath caught. You'd die. Rowan nodded once. Mate rejection is lethal when the bond is pure. And ours is. She shook her head, overwhelmed, voice trembling. I don't want you to die. I just don't want my life ripped away. Rowan softened instantly. Then tell me what you want. She looked up at him, really looked. Rowan Blackthorn, the most feared and respected alpha alive, wasn't glowing with power right now. He wasn't radiating dominance. He wasn't acting like a king. He was just a man. A man who feared losing her before he ever had a chance to know her. I want my freedom, she whispered. Rowan nodded slowly. And you will have it. Myra blinked. What? You will not be taken from your home. You will not be summoned to court in chains of expectation. You will not be paraded as a prize. His eyes softened. You will come when you choose to come. Myra stared. You'd let me stay here. For now, Rowan said. Until you trust the bond. Until you want to walk beside me. Her wolf surged with warmth she couldn't contain. Myra swallowed. And if I never choose? Rowan's eyes held hers steadily. Then I will stay here. Her heart dropped. What? No. You can't stay on a ranch. You're a king. I am a man first, he said, voice low. A mate second. A king third. Myra felt something shift inside her chest. A slow, reluctant melt. Rowan leaned in just slightly. Walk with me. She hesitated. Her wolf said yes. Her mind said no. Her heart whispered maybe. Myra slid off the fence rail. Fine, she muttered. Just a walk. Rowan offered his hand, not forcing, not claiming, just offering. She didn't take it. But she walked beside him. And Rowan smiled, a small, private smile that promised the world had just changed. For both of them. The night air was crisp as Rowan and Myra walked side by side across the pasture, the moon painting silver across the grass. Crickets quieted as they passed. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. For the first time since the marking, Myra felt the tension in her chest ease, just barely, but enough that her breath didn't come in panicked bursts. Rowan didn't rush her. Didn't corner her. Didn't force conversation. He simply matched her pace, silent but present, powerful but strangely gentle. Eventually, Myra broke the quiet. You didn't come here because of me, did you? Rowan shook his head. No. My wolves were tracking a group of rogues who crossed into the western border. They led us in this direction. So fate just shoved you onto my land. A faint smile curved Rowan's lips. It shoved me toward you. Myra's cheeks warmed despite herself. That's not funny. It wasn't a joke. Myra looked away quickly, pretending to examine a fence post. Rowan's gaze lingered on her for a moment, then he said quietly, "Tell me what scares you the most." The question hit deeper than she expected. Myra wrapped her arms around herself. I don't want to lose myself. I've lived my whole life with no expectations except to be kind, to help my father, to keep this place alive. She gestured at the land around them. This ranch is home. Rowan nodded slowly. And you fear becoming someone else if you leave it? She swallowed. Yes. And if you don't leave it? Rowan asked gently. Myra blinked. What do you mean? You think choosing me means abandoning your life. But the moon doesn't ask you to give up what you are. He paused. It asks you to grow into what you were meant to be. Myra chewed her lip. And what is that? Rowan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stopped walking and turned to face her fully. Myra Hales. His voice deepened. Mender of frightened horses. Keeper of forgotten land. Wolf with a soft heart and hidden strength. His eyes glowed. You were meant to stand where others fall, to heal what others break. My wolf sensed it instantly. Her breath caught. But you hardly know me. My wolf knows enough. Myra looked away again, heart pounding uncomfortably. Stop saying things like that, she murmured. Why? Because, her voice cracked. Because you say them like they're true. They are true. Myra took a shaky step backward, but Rowan reached out gently, catching her hand before she could retreat further. The moment he touched her. Heat. Electricity. A bond thread pulling tight in her chest. Mate, her wolf whispered fiercely. Her knees nearly buckled. Rowan steadied her with both hands, voice low. Easy. Myra jerked her hand away, breathing fast. This bond is too strong. It's not normal. Rowan didn't deny it. Instead, he said, the royal line's mate bond is ancient. Chosen not only by instinct, but by prophecy. Myra froze. Prophecy, she repeated. What prophecy? Rowan exhaled slowly. The future Luna of the Alpha King would come from outside the noble packs. She would be marked without ritual, recognized without ceremony, and her wolf would carry a gift, one strong enough to shift the balance of power. Myra stared at him, stunned. No. No, that can't be about me. Why not? I don't have a gift. Rowan tilted his head. Are you certain? Myra faltered. I mean, I can calm animals. And sometimes I feel things others don't. But that's not a gift, that's just. But Rowan was watching her differently now. With sharper interest. With certainty. Myra, he murmured, stepping close, your wolf spoke in full sentences as a child, didn't she? Her blood went cold. How? She whispered. Rowan brushed a stray curl from her cheek, voice soft but unyielding. Men are wolves. Empaths. Moonline healers. They all have one early sign, their wolf speaks with clarity long before others do. Myra shook her head. That's impossible. Those are myths. Rowan's eyes glowed. So is the alpha king marking a mate outside his bloodline. Yet here you are. Myra stumbled backward again, voice trembling. I don't want to be in a prophecy. Rowan followed her slowly, not touching her, but closing the distance with a predator's patience. Fate is not a cage, he murmured. It is a path. And you are free to walk it at your pace. Easy for you to say, Myra snapped. You grew up expecting to lead. You knew your power. I don't know anything about what's happening to me. Rowan's expression softened. Then let me teach you. No, she whispered. I'm not ready. He took a step closer. She stepped back. He stopped immediately. Myra blinked. Rowan wasn't looming. Wasn't pushing. Just standing still, waiting. A king waiting for permission. Tell me when I can come closer, he said quietly. Myra's breath caught. Her wolf whispered, safe. Her heart whispered, not yet. She shook her head. Not now. Rowan nodded once. Then I won't. Myra stared at him, confused. You won't. You asked for freedom, Rowan said. I'm giving it to you. Something inside her chest cracked. Because he meant it. She could feel it in the bond thread, his restraint, his patience, his respect. It wrapped around her like a warm cloak instead of a chain. Myra swallowed hard. Why are you being like this? She whispered. Rowan's eyes softened in a way that made her breath stutter. Because I know what it feels like to have someone take choices from you, he said. I won't be that for you. The ranch lights flickered in the distance. A horse whinnied softly. And for a moment, Myra saw Rowan not as a king, but as a man who'd carried the weight of a kingdom so long he forgot how to hold something gently. Her wolf pushed again, trust. Myra inhaled deeply. Walk me back to the barn. Rowan's expression didn't change, but the bond pulsed with warmth. Yes, he murmured. Anywhere you want. They walked together, this time closer, steps aligned, the distance between them less guarded. But Myra didn't take his hand. And Rowan didn't reach for hers. Because the bond between them was already stretching, weaving, pulling. And sunrise was drawing nearer. The choice she feared was coming. And fate would not be ignored. The barn smelled of hay, warm horses, and the soft comfort of home, scents that wrapped around Myra like a familiar embrace. She slid the wooden door open, letting the warm lantern light spill into the night. Rowan hesitated at the threshold. It wasn't fear. It wasn't discomfort. It was respect. This is your sanctuary, he said quietly. Myra blinked at him. You can come in. Horses don't care about royal titles. A faint smile tugged Rowan's lips. Then perhaps they're wiser than most wolves. He stepped inside, the lantern glow softening the sharp, powerful edges of his presence. Myra walked ahead to check on the horses, running her hands along their necks, soothing their nerves. They instantly calmed under her touch. Rowan watched, mesmerized. "You quiet storms," he murmured. Myra rolled her eyes. "They're horses." "I raised them." "No," Rowan corrected gently. "I meant me." She froze. Her fingers paused mid-stroke on her mare's fur. Her breath caught in her throat. She turned slowly, meeting Rowan's eyes. They weren't glowing with dominance now. They were warm. Open. Too honest. "Rowan," she whispered, unsure what to say. He stepped forward, not close enough to cage her, but close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from him. "May I tell you something?" he asked softly. Myra nodded once. Rowan exhaled, voice low and steady. "When I was a young alpha, I made a mistake. I believed strength meant silence and solitude. I shut down everyone who tried to reach me. Even those I cared for." His gaze lowered. "Especially those I cared for." She felt her chest tighten. He continued, voice growing rougher. "When the moon granted me a mate mark tonight, I feared I would lose you the same way. That I would be too much. Too overwhelming." Myra blinked rapidly. "You? Overwhelming? You're the Alpha King. Aren't you supposed to be overwhelming?" Rowan huffed, almost a laugh. "That's the problem, Myra. I don't want to be a king to you." Her heart stuttered. "Then what do you want to be?" He held her gaze, silver eyes steady. "Yours." Silence. The horses shifted softly. Hay rustled. Myra's entire body warmed in a slow, dangerous wave. "You can't just say things like that," she whispered. "Why?" Rowan asked. "Because they are true." Myra swallowed hard. "Because I'm scared." Rowan nodded. "And I'm patient." She closed her eyes briefly. The fear in her chest twisted, not the sharp fear of danger, but the trembling fear of being wanted, truly wanted, for the first time. When she opened her eyes, Rowan was still there. Waiting. Steady. Unmoving, except for the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Her wolf pressed gently inside her, urging her to speak. "You said earlier," Myra murmured, "that the bond hurts you if I don't accept it." Rowan's jaw flexed. "Yes." "How bad?" Rowan didn't answer immediately. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate, and extended his hand. "Give me your wrist." Myra hesitated, then lifted her hand. Rowan took her wrist gently, turning it so the mark faced moonlight spilling through the barn window. His thumb brushed the glowing sigil. Heat flared between them. Electric. Intimate. Undeniable. Rowan's voice dropped to a whisper. "This mark connects our wolves. When you pull away from the bond, I feel a tearing inside my chest." Myra's breath hitched. "Like pain." "Like dying slowly," he admitted. She gasped. "Rowan." He caught her other hand before she could retreat, holding both her wrists gently, reverently. "But I don't want you to accept me because of that," he said. "I will endure the pain. For days. For years, if I must." Myra shook her head, overwhelmed. "Why? Why would you do that?" Rowan met her gaze with a certainty she'd never seen in another living soul. "Because losing you would hurt more." Myra's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. Rowan released one of her wrists and lifted his hand slowly, brushing a knuckle against her cheek. She inhaled sharply. "Do you feel this?" he murmured. Myra nodded shakily. "And this?" His palm cupped her jaw gently. She shivered. "Yes. That is the bond at peace," Rowan whispered. That is how we are meant to feel. And if I reject you, she whispered. Rowan held her gaze. Then it becomes agony. For both of us. Her breath trembled. Do you want me to pity you? No. He leaned closer. I want you to understand what choosing means. She stared into his eyes. And for a moment, a fragile, dangerous moment, she felt a spark of something warm unfurl in her heart. Something terrifying. Something beautiful. Something undeniable. Rowan's voice brushed her ear, low and raw. Myra, come to the capital with me. She jerked as if struck. What? No. No, Rowan, I can't. You won't be trapped, he promised. You won't be paraded. You won't be forced. He paused. You will simply see. See what your life with me could be. Her heartbeat roared in her ears. Myra, he said softly, I want you by my side. Not as a Luna. Not as a symbol. But as the woman fate wrote into my bones. Her hands trembled in his. I can't decide tonight, she whispered. You don't have to. Rowan brushed a thumb over her cheek. You only have to decide if you'll try. Her wolf pushed again, gentle, hopeful. Myra swallowed hard. I'll think about it. Rowan's smile was slow, quiet, devastating. That is all I ask. He pulled away, reluctantly, and stepped back, giving her space. Myra, he said, voice low, when sunrise comes, whatever choice you make, I will honor it. Her chest ached painfully. Even if I choose to stay here. Yes, he whispered. Even if I never become your queen? Yes. Her voice cracked. Even if I break the bond? Rowan's eyes softened. If breaking it is truly what your soul wants, he murmured, I will let you go. She stared at him, stunned. He wasn't chaining her. He wasn't demanding. He wasn't controlling her fate. He was offering her freedom, even if it destroyed him. And somehow, that made it harder to breathe. Myra pressed a hand to her chest, heartbeat racing. Rowan bowed his head slightly, then turned toward the barn door. If he took one more step, he would leave. If she said nothing, he would walk away. Rowan, she whispered before she could stop herself. He paused. Myra's voice trembled. Stay. Tonight, stay close. Rowan turned, eyes blazing with quiet hope. Close, he echoed softly. Outside, she clarified quickly, cheeks burning. Just outside the house. Rowan smiled, a smile so warm it melted every frozen corner inside her. As you wish, Myra. He walked out into the moonlight, and her wolf whined softly as he left. Myra stared after him, heart twisting. Sunrise was coming. And her decision would change both their worlds. Dawn approached slowly, painting the fields in pale rose and gold. Myra hadn't slept. She'd spent the night pacing her bedroom, then sitting on the floor with her wolf begging her to breathe, then staring out the window toward the lone figure seated outside the house. Rowan had kept his word. He had not slept either. He sat on the porch steps, hands clasped loosely, posture relaxed but alert, like a sentinel carved from shadow and silver. Every time Myra passed the window, his head tilted slightly, sensing her even if he couldn't see her. He wasn't guarding her. He was waiting. Not with pressure. With patience. The sky lightened. The sun brushed the edge of the horizon. Myra, her wolf whispered. It's time. She took a shaky breath and stepped outside. The old wooden floor creaked beneath her feet. Rowan lifted his head immediately, eyes locking onto hers with such intensity her breath hitched. Myra, he murmured. She moved to stand in front of him, heart hammering painfully against her ribs. The early morning light cast soft shadows across his face, softening the lethal lines, making him look almost human. Almost vulnerable. Rowan rose slowly to his feet. "Have you decided?" he asked quietly. Myra's throat tightened. "I've thought about nothing else." "And?" She swallowed hard. "Before I tell you, I need to ask you something." Rowan nodded. "Ask." Myra stepped closer, closer than she had ever allowed herself before, and looked straight into his silver eyes. "If I come with you," she whispered, "who will I be? A queen? A symbol? A prize? A part of your power?" "No," Rowan said instantly. "You will be Myra Hales." Her breath trembled out of her. Rowan continued, voice steady. "Your identity will not vanish. Your choices will not shrink. Your voice will not be silenced. You will be who you are now, and more. Not because of me, but because the bond frees wolves, Myra. It doesn't cage them." Myra held his gaze, searching for even a flicker of deception. There was none. "What if I can't handle palace life?" she whispered. "Then we'll make a new life," Rowan said simply. "One that fits you." Myra blinked, stunned. "You'd give up your palace?" "If that is the path you choose," Rowan said softly, "then yes." Her breath caught. "Why?" Rowan stepped closer, so close she felt the heat of his body, the steady echo of his heartbeat, the magnetic pull of the bond thrumming like a second pulse inside her. "Because I don't want a queen beside me," he murmured. "I want you." The words hit her like lightning. Her wolf howled with longing. Her heart nearly broke with the force of it. But Myra wasn't done. "One last question," she whispered, voice trembling. "If I bond with you, what becomes of my father?" Rowan answered without hesitation. "He comes with us. Or we build him a home wherever he wishes to be. He will always be protected. Always." Tears stung Myra's eyes. Because at her deepest core, this had been her greatest fear. Not losing her land. Not losing her freedom. Losing him. Her father. Her only family. But Rowan had already considered him. Already valued him. Already promised safety without being asked. The sun crested fully over the horizon. Warm light spilled across the ranch. Time ran out. Rowan lowered his head, voice a gentle rumble. "Myra, what is your choice?" Her wolf surged upward, pressing against her ribs like it would tear itself free if she didn't speak the truth. She took a trembling step forward. Then another. Until she stood pressed against Rowan's chest, her hands resting lightly on the leather strap crossing his armor. "Myra." Rowan breathed. She looked up at him, fear in her eyes, but something stronger blazing beneath it. "Rowan," she whispered, "I choose you." The bond snapped fully into place. A shockwave of silver fire flared between them, rushing up her arms, down her spine, into her heart. Rowan staggered forward, grabbing her waist as the mate bond sealed, complete, whole, unbreakable. Heat flooded their chests. Light burst beneath their skin. Their wolves howled in unison, one deep, powerful, ancient, one bright, awakening, fierce. Myra gasped as the mark on her wrist ignited, flaring brilliant gold before settling into a steady glow. Rowan cupped her face with both hands, voice shaking. "Myra, my mate." She felt the truth of it in every nerve. "I'm yours," she whispered, "and you're mine." He kissed her. Not with dominance. Not with heat. With reverence. With awe. With the quiet, desperate relief of a man who feared destiny would slip through his fingers. His lips moved gently against hers, deepening only when she leaned into him, fingers curling into his shirt. The bond pulsed between them, weaving their souls tighter, closer, whole. When they parted, breathless, Myra whispered, "I'm scared." Rowan rested his forehead against hers. Good. Only fools face destiny without fear. She laughed softly, tears slipping down her cheeks. What happens now? Rowan wiped her tears with his thumb. Now, you pack a bag. Bring only what matters. The palace can provide the rest. And my father. He rides with us. And the ranch. It will be cared for. Protected under my crest. Myra nodded slowly. A new life unfurled before her, terrifying, enormous, magnificent. Rowan extended his hand. This time, she took it. His fingers closed around hers, warm and sure. Warriors bowed as they approached. Her father stood in the doorway, pride shining in his tired eyes. The land that raised her watched silently as Myra Hales walked toward destiny with the Alpha King at her side. Rowan squeezed her hand. Myra, he said softly, from this moment on, you are never alone. She looked up at him and felt the bond hum with certainty. I know, she whispered. And as the horses were saddled and the royal escort formed around them, Myra glanced at her wrist, at the mark still glowing faintly. She wasn't just a rancher's daughter anymore. She was the chosen mate of the Alpha King. And her story was only beginning. She left her ranch behind at sunrise, but she carried the heart of a queen long before destiny ever marked her.